Read more. On East Street, Copenhagen, next to the new Royal School, in a house, the homeowner was receiving guests. There were many guests that day. The host was a hospitable person, so guests came to be invited back. Guests gathered at the altar, others gathered together to chat. In between many other things, they discussed the Middle Ages. Most thought that those times were no better than today. Only Mr. Knapp and the landlady were the only ones who firmly opposed that opinion. The two men believed that up until now, the time of King Henks was the most glorious and happiest era. At this time, outside the waiting room, filled with coats, canes, umbrellas, and shoes, there were two maids, one old and one young. But the guest was wrong. The two ladies were not housekeepers. They are two fairies. Just look at them, delicate hands, elegant posture and gait. Their clothes are also unusual, full of elegance. The young fairy is the maid, the chambermaid of the god of luck, and the old fairy is the god of punishment. The young fairy has the mission of delivering gifts from the god of luck. The god of punishment fairy had a stern expression and went to control the results of the work. The two women were telling each other about the work they had done that day. The maid said she had only done a few odd jobs: keeping the hat from getting wet in the rain, delivering the greetings of a famous scoundrel to the talented person, and other things like that. But she still had to do one more thing. An unusual thing. Give the shoes as a gift to the adults below. These shoes have a miracle that anyone who puts them on in their house will be able to go anywhere they want or relive any era instantly. And quat, it feels so good, and quat, she concluded. Not sure yet. Old fairy, if you and number 39. Re not smart, you and number 39. LL be miserable, put it near the door, whoever picks it up will pick it up. It and number 39. Late at night, the matter is over, the judge has left. Coming to the door, his mind was still thinking about the era of King Henks. The judge mistakenly put on the shoes he had just placed. The way to his house was through East Street. He walked towards it, but the miracle of his shoes took him back to the time of King Henks, his feet wading in mud and through puddles, because at that time the streets were not paved. The sidewalks were not paved with concrete like they are now. As he walked, he complained, "The mud is terrible. The sidewalks are gone, the lights are out. The moon has not yet risen, there is a lot of fog, everything is in darkness." On a nearby street corner, there is a lamp hanging that shines down on the statue of the Virgin Mary, but the light is so dim that you have to go there to see clearly and see the Virgin Mary holding the child in her arms. He thought to himself, perhaps this is a cosmetics store that people forgot to put up advertisements. Just then, two people wearing ancient clothes passed in front of the judge and said, "They dress strangely." Perhaps they had just returned from a disguised dance. There was the sound of drums and flutes, and he stopped to see a procession passing by. First is the drum, then comes the guard holding bows, arrows and weapons. The leader of the procession is a monk. Surprised by the strange scene, he muttered, "And quat, why is that? Who is that person, and quat?" A voice replied, "That and number 39. The Bishop of Xylan." "Why is the bishop like that?" "Maybe not, you guys are wrong." Lost in thought, without looking at the road, the jury passed through Dong Street and Kowloon Square. Unable to find the bridge to the Palace Square, he only glimpsed a wide river and met two people sitting on a boat. They ax, and quot, do you want to cross the Holen River? Cross the Holen River? Why cross the river? Nonsense question. I want to go to Krikstianhavu Alley, Market Town. The jury forgot that he was living back in the time of King Henks. Seeing the other two people looking at him in surprise, he continued, please show me the way to the bridge. There are no lights at all, it and number 39's pitch black. The waiting is like walking in a muddy field. Mud. It and number 39's mud. The more he talked to the two sailors, the more surprised he became, not understanding what they were saying. He struggled, I can and number 39's understand your dialect. He turned away in anger. He could n and hash 39's. He could n and hash 39's find a bridge. There was an and hash 39's even a railing along the river. He muttered, what a chaos. He had never seen his era living so pitifully again. He thought to himself, perhaps he had to call a car to go. But where could he find a car? Looking tired, there was an and hash 39's any. He said to himself, we have to go back to the new Royal School to find a car, otherwise we won and number 39's be able to get to Krikstianhavu. He the judge returned to East Street. When we got close to the street, the moon rose. Seeing the eastern city gate, he exclaimed, oh my God! What did they set up this station here for? Finally, the judge found the carriage and went to the new square today. In the past, this place was an empty lot with only rotten grass and a few bushes. There is a river flowing through it, emptying into the sea. On the other side there were a few shabby wooden huts of sailors in Halling village, so that place is now named Cape Halling. The judge thought to himself, is the devil haunting me or am I that drunk? Why are you so confused that I don't and number 39's understand anymore? Maybe I and number 39's am sick. The day comes again. Entering the street, he could see the houses more clearly. Most of them had broken walls made of bars and thatched roofs. He muttered, why are people so upset? If I only drink one glass of wine mixed with sugar, why do I feel so uncomfortable? Give me wine mixed with sugar and hot star anise. This is crazy. These wives of civil servants are so evil. Or should I come back to let them know they and number 39's redoing random business? But surely they are still awake. But that and number 39's also very bad. He looked for his home yard, but could n and hash 39's find it. He muttered, I can and number 39's recognize East Street anymore. There are no more shops. Only seen in shabby old huts like in Rotsoken or in Rinkstedt. I and number 39's am really sick. Where is the Mandarin and number 39's house? Damn! Why am I so sick? Saw a house with light coming through the door. This was an inn during King Henks and hash 39's time, a beer pub. The room resembles a pub in Hanstein. In the bar there were a number of Marines, a few city people and two scientists. A few people were chatting excitedly. Each person had a beer in front of them. The jury opened the door and entered. They continued chatting without paying attention to him. The shop owner came running. He asks, Madam, I feel uncomfortable like I and number 39's am about to get sick. Can you help me call a car to take me back to Krikstianhavu? The shopkeeper looked out, shook her head and answered in German. The jury assumed that she did not know Danish, so he asked her this time in German. Hearing the judge and number 39's voice and dress, she subjectively believed that he was a foreigner. She understood that he was sick and brought him a glass of water that had just come out of the tap, but it tasted salty. Taking a sip, he shook his head. He held his forehead and sighed, thinking about the strange phenomena around him. Seeing the shopkeeper fold a large piece of paper, he asks, "Is the in quat, daytime and quat, newspaper coming out at night? Today?" She didn't and #39 understand what he wanted to say, so she kept giving him the folded paper. It was a woodcut, depicting an astronomical phenomenon such as he had seen in Cologne. He said, "This painting is very old. How did you get this rare painting? Precious." But the explanation written in the painting is no longer timely. It seems fanciful. Now people call that phenomenon an aurora borealis, caused by electricity. People sitting nearby saw the judge speak and were surprised. One person stood up and respectfully said, "Sir, you must be a great scientist." "No. I only know a little bit of everything, like everyone else." "You are so humble." "If I know that, then say so. What more do you know for me to learn?" The juror said to the other person, "And quat, can you tell me your name? And quat, I am a scripture baccalaureate," the other person replied. His academic degree also matches his way of eating. But the juror thought to himself, "This must be a mentally deranged old man, left in a remote place in the country of Gietlan." The person claiming to be a scripture baccalaureate added, "This is not a forum, but please continue to speak. We would love to hear it. You must be knowledgeable about ancient authors." "Yes, ancient books are very useful. I really like to read. I also know many books today. But I don and number 39 like and quat, daily stories and quat, because real life is enough." "What are and quat, daily stories and quat?" "They are new novels written today. I see these books. Current novels are also interesting. The king also reads often." The person who likes the book and quat, Mr. Ipevin and Mr. Godio and quat. The most is the story of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. I have not read that story. Probably a new book from Guillemin Publishing House. Mr. Jimin is the author of the story, right? That name sounds very old, right? That and number 39's the name of Denmark and number 39's first publishing house. That and number 39's right. Our first printing house was the Guillemin Printing House. While the story was funny, someone suddenly mentioned the plague that happened near that year, so they also mentioned the story of British robbers storming the port and robbing ships. Hearing that, the jury thought they were talking about the assassination attempt in 1801, so his words cursing the British Army in that assassination attempt still matched the story. But later the story became distorted. Every man says chicken and she says duck. Neither side understands the other. They stared blankly at each other. When he was overwhelmed, the baccalaureate had to speak in Latin in the hope that people would understand him in that language. But in the end, the judge did not understand him, and he did not understand whatever the judge said. The landlady pulled the judge and number 39's sleeve and asked, "How do you feel now?" The landlady and number 39's question shocked him. Conscious. Because he was so busy talking, he forgot all the events that had just happened before. Then, remembering the past, he was stunned and exclaimed, "Where is this, gentleman?" A guest shouted loudly, "Let in number 39's finish our cups together, everyone. Honey wine mixed with Brem beer. Please clink glasses with us." The two waitresses took out the tray, bowed to the guests and poured wine. "What is this wine?" The jury wondered, not daring to drink. But seeing that people offered it so much, he was forced to drink it. Someone said he was drunk, he believed it and asked to rent a carriage to go home. Hearing him speak, people thought he spoke Russian. He had never come into contact with such rude people before. The country seems to have regressed to pagan times. He thought to himself, "This is truly the most terrifying moment of my life." He then crawled under the table to crawl out the door. He crawled out and was almost there when someone saw him. They quickly grabbed his legs and pulled him back. The shoes fell off my feet, the miracle also disappeared. The jury saw in front of him a shining light pole, and behind him was a large building. Next to the big house are many other houses standing in line next to it. Right now he is in Dong Street. He was still crawling on the ground in front of a door. He saw the watchman sleeping soundly in front of him. He sat up, around and exclaimed, "What a monster! Why am I lying in the middle of the road sleeping like this? Right in the middle of East Street. Lights! Thank you. I just drank a glass of wine mixed with sugar and got drunk like that. How terrible." 2 minutes later he was on the bus back to Krikstinanevu. He remembered the fears and hardships he had just experienced and silently praised the joy and happiness of real life, seeing clearly that our era was not very perfect, but it was much better than the era he lived in just now. Uncle Patrol the guard woke up when he heard the noise and shouted, "Hey! Whose shoes are these? Probably belongs to the lieutenant up here. But why did you leave your shoes there? The watchman was about to ring the doorbell to return your shoes." But he felt that this would cause the neighbors next door to lose sleep, so he stopped and told him tomorrow morning. Then, feeling sad, he tried the shoe on his foot and praised, "And quat, it fits well. The leather is so soft. It and number 39's comfortable to walk on. And quat. Trying on my shoes, I sat and thought, Lieutenant, you and number 39 re so happy. No wife, no children, no attachments. At night, he goes to entertain rich people. I wish I could be like him. I hope to see it." Due to the miracle of the shoes, as soon as the guard made that wish, he immediately entered the lieutenant and number 39's body, soul, and body. Uncle found himself living upstairs, in the lieutenant and number 39's room, holding a piece of paper which was the manuscript of a poem written by the lieutenant. That and number 39's right, the lieutenant and number 39's. In everyone and number 39's life, there is a time when the poetic soul is filled with poetry. At that time, people wrote their thoughts on paper and became poetry. But the patrolman did not like poetry and also did not like being a lieutenant. Just tried it a little bit but I felt bored, I regretted my job as a patrolman. It was hard but I enjoyed it. Due to the miracle of the shoes, I was sighing when I changed from a lieutenant to a patrolman. I was glad that I had passed from quit my new job. So my body as a patrolman returned to my duty as a patrolman. I just had a strange dream. Suddenly he became a lieutenant upstairs, Nothing more, but he missed his mother and the children. He sat down on the chair he had been sitting on guard with his head bowed, thinking vaguely. Suddenly a star changed its position in the sky. Uncle muttered, "Why change the throne? Probably changing to a happier world. I wish I could get close to that star and see it. Especially being able to go to the moon again would be great. If only I could go for a tour up there. I would be damned if I died on this doorstep." In this world, there are many things to be cautious about. Putting on happy shoes requires even more caution. What happened to the watchman is as follows. As soon as he finished speaking, the watchman traveled 60,000 miles to the moon. The patrolman fell into a volcano often seen on the moon map of the scientist Hatle. The moon is made of a substance that is lighter than our Earth, like snow when it first falls to the ground. The patrolman went as deep as half a Danish mile. Below is a village completely the color of egg white mixed with water, but the round tower and the altar and number 39's rolling door swinging in the air are clearly visible. Our Earth is like a giant lamp hanging overhead. On the moon there are many creatures that we call humans on Earth, but they are not like us. They also have a voice that the Soul Guard can understand. On the moon, they also have debates about our Earth. They hypothesized that the Earth was inhabited and discussed it. Many people believe that the air on Earth is too dense to live, and only the moon has creatures. The moon is the most perfect star. That was the residence of the heavenly people in ancient times. Let and number 39's go back to Kua Dong Street to see how the patrolman is doing now. He is lying dead on the doorstep, his eyes looking up at the moon, where his soul is traveling. A passerby asks, "What time is it?" Seeing that you didn't and #39's answer, people pinched your nose and slapped your mouth. He was still lying unconscious like a corpse. Anyone who sees that is scared. They thought he was dead and could N and #39's be cured. But early in the morning they still took him to the hospital. We imagine how confused it would be when he returned to Earth and his soul could not find his body. His soul must have run to the police station, then to the storage room, lost it, and finally to the hospital. When the human soul is relaxed, it is very wise. Only when entering the body. The new soul has become stupid, it will definitely find the body of the patrolman. When they brought him to the hospital, they took him immediately to the morgue. Here people prepare to enter the coffin. First, you must take off your old clothes and shoes to clean them and then put on new clothes. The orderly had just taken off the shoes on the patrolman and number 39's feet and suddenly he jumped up. It turned out that his soul had returned to find his body and entered and he was alive again. The watchman told the story of the night and said that night was the most terrible night of his life. If I gave him 2 coins and told him to live another night like that, he would accept it. That day he was discharged from the hospital, but his shoes stayed in the hospital. No one in Copenhagen knew how to get into the hospital. Frederick Hospital, but not all of my readers are Copenhageners, so I would like to briefly introduce a few features. From the street to the hospital, there is a quite high iron fence, large iron bars and thin enough for children to fit through. Usually, it and number 39's the head that and number 39's the hardest to get through. Wherever the head goes, the tail follows, that and number 39's what people say. But the case I and number 39 am about to tell below is different. A young assistant nurse at the hospital that day was on night watch. It was raining, but he still wanted to escape for 15 minutes. It was raining again at night, no one was going out at this time, so the guard slipped through the main gate. Just then he saw the hill of shoes that the guard had left behind. It and number 39's so convenient to have shoes to wear when it rains. He immediately grabbed it and put it on his leg. Then he went to the gate to get through the fence. As he walked, he muttered as if praying, and quote, "Oh my God, how can my head fit through?" And quote. Thanks to the miracle of the shoes, his huge head passed through easily. Now it and number 39's my turn. He thought that if the head goes first, the tail will follow. But I struggled forever and still could N and hash 39 T get my stomach out. I didn't and hash 39 T expect I was so fat. He muttered to himself. Turning around until his shirt was torn, he still could N and hash 39 T get through. Even worse, he could N and hash 39 T pull his head back. That and number 39's the dilemma. He got angry and could no longer be as cheerful as usual. Struggling forever one and number 39 T help anything. That and number 39's death. It and number 39's still pouring rain, the streets are deserted. I wanted to reach for the bell to ring it, but I could N and hash 39 T reach it. How to escape this dangerous step? I Don and number 39 T know if I have to stand like this until morning, then ask the locksmith to come and cut an iron bar. But that took too long, and the cold rain seeped into my body. Then the kitchen ladies and children came to watch and shame me. Oh, how dangerous! So dangerous! Wish I could escape this place. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately pulled his head out. If only he knew that the shoes had miracles, he would have wished sooner, but he didn't and hash 39 T know anything. One crime led to another, clearly miserable for the hospital assistant. I would like to continue telling the story for readers. That evening at the club there was a music night. The program includes a poetry recitation performance. The title of the poem is, and quote, Grandma and number 39's old glasses and quote. The content of the poem is as follows. Grandma has glasses that see into everyone and number 39's hearts. When she looks at someone, she can read that person and number 39's secret thoughts. The hospital assistant was also present at that performance. It was raining, so he still pulled on the shoes he caught the day before, because no one came to claim them. He kept thinking about the theme of the poem and wished he had glasses like that so he could understand people and number 39's hearts. If I break into the hearts of those audience members sitting in the front row, I will rummage through their hearts like searching a warehouse. This woman and number 39's heart is like a drawer full of clothes of all styles and fashions. That woman and number 39's heart is wide and has nothing. The third woman and number 39's heart saw herself inviting her to come and see. If only I could get into a heart. I wish I could see it. He immediately crawled into the heart of a luxurious lady. He saw her heart as a salon. He entered a room, with many deformed limbs hanging on the wall. This is different from a beauty salon. In the beauty salon, only disabled people come to make molds, but in the beauty salon, Poor people who don and number 39 T need to show up are also made molds, and the molds are carefully kept. The mistress had all the rich portraits of her friends, highlighting each person and number 39's physical and mental weaknesses. After rummaging through the First Lady and number 39's heart, the assistant went to another lady and number 39's heart. This second woman and number 39's heart is like a large and mysterious church building. The white dove symbolizing purity spreads its wings on the altar. If he didn't and #39 T have to go to another heart, he would have knelt down. Going to another heart, I can still hear the sound of the organ. If you look in the list of famous people, you will find her name. Stepping into another heart, you feel like entering a living room covered entirely with mirrors like in the Rosanpo castle, but the difference from the other castle is that the mirror here reflects. Everything grew terribly large. Finally, he entered a heart, he felt confused, and had to untangle it before finding a way out. Feeling tired at this point, he stopped the examination. He felt dizzy, his head was spinning, his body felt restless. And he immediately thought of a hot bath as a cure. I wish I could be on the top step of the bathroom so the water would be full and strong. The best heat. How can it be? Steam condensed into drops that dripped down his face. The water is so hot. He screamed and jumped into the cold shower room. The maid screamed when he saw him wearing all his clothes in the bathroom. He quickly argued, "I was betting." When he got home, the first thing he did was stick a leaf on his neck and back to avoid going crazy. Yet the next day his back was still blistered. Wearing the happy shoes, he was so happy. A few days later, no one came to pick up the shoes, so the patrolman took them to the police station. A corrupt man working there, admiring the shoes, then placing them next to his own, he said, "The two pairs of shoes are exactly the same." Even the shoemaker had a hard time distinguishing which pair was which. Someone came with an application and said, "The greedy mandarin." The greedy man turned around and said a few words, then returned to the shoe storage area. But he could no longer remember which pair of shoes was which. Mine. He thought that the pair that was wet was his. But he was wrong, the wet shoes were the happy shoes. He greedily put on his shoes, put the official document in his pocket and took it home to read. Seeing the beautiful weather, he walked for a while up Frederick Square. As he walked, he admired the scenery. He looked at the birds jumping and singing happily on the branches and said as if lamenting, "They are so happy. Much happier than me. Soar high in the sky, follow the clouds and return to the wind, freely spread your wings. I wish I could fly like them." As soon as he finished speaking, his arms and shirt turned into bird wings, the fabric turned into feathers, and his shoes turned into bird feet. He changed shape and thought to himself, "So I have become a bird, I can fly freely. All things are under me. My friends are the sun, the wind, and the clouds." Having said that to himself, Mr. Tham is now a nightingale, fluttering up and down. After a while, he swooped down and looked in all directions. Suddenly something large landed on his body. It turned out that a young man was passing by. When he saw the beautiful bird, he immediately grabbed his hat and held it firmly. He was so greedy that he cried out, "Let me go, you little brat." Did he spend it? The boy only heard the chirping of birds, so he didn't and #39 Tino he was greedy. Along the way, he met two students. The boys asked to buy the boy and agreed to sell it for 8 shillings. So they took him to Got Street, the capital city of Copenhagen. The children brought him to a beautiful house. A fat lady came out to greet them. But she expressed that she did not like sparrows. She called the nightingale, which meant he was greedy, a sparrow. She only let it in for 1 day, but had to put it in a cage and hang it in the window. "Maybe Pop really likes it," she said as she pointed to a large green parrot shaking its head in a brass cage. "Today is Pop and number 39's birthday. The sparrow will congratulate it." A canary in the cage sings loudly. The fat lady scolded him and threw the white rag over his cage. The canary chirped a few more times and then fell silent. Mr. Tham, i.e. Sparrow, is kept in a cage next to the canary cage, placed near the parrot cage. The parrot loudly made a series of human sounds that its owner taught it. And quat, "Forget it, leave us alone and let us live as humans," and quat. The canary also sang to its new friend, the sparrow, and quat. "Not long ago I was flying under the shade of green coconut trees and the shade of growing almond trees bloomed. I flew with my brothers and sisters over the fragrant flower forest, over the clear sea, on the tree-lined shore. I also heard many parrots sing many beautiful and strange stories." The parrot interrupted, "Listen to me. Those are wild parrots. They are not taught anything. And quat, please leave us alone and let us live as humans." "Why Don and number 39, you laugh out loud." The hostess and guests are also laughing. "You Don and number 39, know how to enjoy the good things in life. Stop it. Leave it alone so we can live as humans." Do you still remember the silhouette of beautiful girls dancing under the blooming banana trees? Do you remember the shady old forests full of fragrant flowers and sweet fruits? Parrot replied, "Yes. But now I feel happier. I was raised well and treated kindly. I find this satisfying and there in number 39's nothing more. From now on let and number 39's live like real people. Quit your sad singing voice. Say something that makes people laugh. Laughter represents intelligence that has reached its peak. Can dogs or horses know how to laugh? It and number 39's okay for them to cry, but not for them to laugh. Only humans know how to laugh. From now on we will live like real people." The canary turned around and said, "Hey Danish sparrow." So he was also imprisoned. "You live in the forest, it must be very cold, but you are free. Let and number 39's go back." People forgot to close the door to the barn. Above there is an open window. You can escape. Escape. Without a moment and number 39's hesitation, the sparrow jumped out of the cage. At the same time, there was the sound of the room door hissing. A blue-eyed cat sneaks in to hunt birds. Canary struggled and cried out. And quat, "From now on let and number 39's live together like real people," and quat. He was so greedy and scared that he quickly flew out of the cage, then had no direction and kept flying, passing through houses and streets. When his wings got tired, he stopped to rest. Seeing that the house next door was familiar, with an open window, he flew in. It was his own house again. He sat right at the table, without thinking, just repeating the parrot and number 39's words, and quat. From now on let and number 39 live like real people and quat. And, miraculously, the greedy man turned into himself sitting at the table. He cried out, "God bless! How come after dreaming, I and number 39 am sitting here again? What were you worried about just now? What foolishness!" Early the next morning, Mr. Tham was still lying in bed when he heard a knock on the door. He was a theology student, living in the next room, on the same floor. He walked in and pleaded, "Please lend me your shoes. It and number 39 so wet outside in the garden. I want to go out and breathe the fresh morning air." He put on his shoes and went right down to the garden. In the garden there is only one apple tree and one plum tree. But in the middle of the capital Copenhagen, having a garden, no matter how small, is still interesting. The student went for a walk. It and number 39 still early. It and number 39 not even 6:00 and number 39 clock. Outside the street suddenly sounded the sound of a horse-drawn carriage driver and number 39's horn. Hearing the sound of horses and number 39's hooves on the main road, he immediately thought of traveling and exclaimed, "Oh, tourism! Traveling is such a joy, so happy in life. I wish for nothing more." It and number 39 a sedative when we and number 39 re-tormented by our hearts. I wish I could go to Switzerland and travel through Italy. I wish I could see it. Just like the people before him, he put on his shoes of happiness and wished for whatever he wanted. The student wanted to travel. Immediately the shoes took him to Italy exactly as he wished. He sat in a carriage, among some bales. He felt a headache, difficulty breathing, his head felt as heavy as lead, blood rushed to his feet stuffed tightly in his boots. He felt half awake and half unconscious. His right pocket holds credit cards, his left pocket holds travel documents, and on his chest dangles a bag containing a few gold coins, carefully sewn inside. Every time I take a nap, I dream about something. So he suddenly woke up and quickly touched to see if it was still there. There was never a night of restful sleep. All day long it felt like someone was coming to rob me. Then the hat, umbrella, and sticks on the hood of the car kept swinging and hitting his head and face, making him feel uneasy and uncomfortable. The surrounding landscape was grand and majestic, the forests once protruding from steep cliffs and hidden mountain peaks. In the fog, snow started to fall. It was cold. He began to feel bored of traveling here. He thought to himself, "I wish I could go to the other side of the Alps again. Going there will be able to live in the summer climate and receive money in credit cards. It and number 39 cold like this and I don't and number 39 want to stay in Switzerland anymore. How can I get to the other side of the mountain?" The student and number 39's wish was immediately fulfilled. In just a blink of an eye he saw the other side of the mountains, on Italian land, between Florence and Rome. The water of Lake Traxinen sparkled in the late afternoon sunlight, looking like liquid gold amid the dark green of the mountains, where Andersen had peacefully defeated the green elm trees in the past. Naked children were herding black pigs in the fragrant pink laurel forest on both sides of the road. If only I had the talent to fully describe the beautiful scene here, readers would probably exclaim, and quote, "Italy is so beautiful," and quote, but our student and the tourists traveling in the same car with him, no one shouted a word like that. Insects and flies flew around the car. They used bamboo branches to scare them away, but they could N#39 T. There was not a single person in the car who was not burned until their face was swollen. They stuck to the eyes and faces of the horses pulling the cart, making it difficult for the horses to see the road. Swarms of flies rushed in to bite them, and the driver continuously got out of the car to chase them away. As the sun sets, the wind rises, making the landscape shake. The mountains are all green. When you come to see it, you will see how majestic it is. At this time, tourists are hungry. They hope to see an inn for accommodation rather than a beautiful natural scene. While passing through an olive grove, the theology student remembered his homeland. He found that those olive trees were not as beautiful as the rough old willows in his hometown. Going a little further, they came to a lonely inn. In front of the shop was a group of beggars, some with broken legs, some with pimples all over their hands, and some with arms up to their elbows. They competed with each other to call for help, their wailing voices tearing their hearts out. The student had a hard time escaping their siege and entering the inn. The shop owner is an old woman, dirty clothes, loose hair, smiling mouth, looking hideous like a devil, inviting customers. The shop and number 39's door is tied with rope. The ceiling is full of bats. A terrible smell enters the nose. A customer asks, "Is it possible to move the dining table down to the stables, owner?" "Down there, the only smell is horse manure, but here there are all kinds of smells, so how can you sit here and eat?" The shopkeeper understood and opened the door to let the room air out, but as soon as the door opened, a whole group of beggars rushed in, pleading, "Please save the suffering. Help the needy." The restaurant brought out the tray. As soon as I put the tray down, the smell of pepper and conditioner came up. The eggs are rotten, the chicken is burnt, the wine is mixed, it and number 39's hard to drink, it and number 39's as bitter as medicine. It and number 39's not safe to sleep at night. Guests must take iron chains to the door and take turns staying awake to guard it. Inside the house, the air was suffocating. Outside, the beggars were still babbling, and quote, "Please, ladies and gentlemen, save the suffering, help the needy." And quote. While he was still opening and closing his eyes, the theology student thought he was in a bed in a room. In the middle of the capital Copenhagen, down there is a small garden with apple and plum trees. When he fully woke up, he remembered that he was on his way to travel in Italy. Gradually he remembered the hardships he had just experienced and the boredom he encountered on the road. Then he lay crowded on a bed of smelly straw, only to wake up soon and sit at the table to eat burnt chicken, rotten eggs, and bitter mixed wine like taking medicine in a stuffy room, eating and listening to the flood. This guy babbled outside the door, and quote, "Dear sir, dear lady, save suffering and rescue, help the poor." End quote. The student thought to himself, "If only I could take my soul with me when traveling. But this is so annoying. I wish I only had a soul. It and number 39's more fun like this, it and number 39's not fun at all." The student thought like that and suddenly he found himself in his hometown. Long white curtains drape over the windows. In the middle of the room was a black painted coffin, in which the student and number 39's body lay motionless, while his soul was traveling around the world. An ancient Athens scholar, Solon, once said, and quote, Dawn and number 39. Be in a hurry. And quote, Gold determines who is happy before he or she dies. And quote. That saying of the wise scholar was shown in the story I told above. Two shadows entered the room. It is the god of punishment and the messenger of the god of happiness. The two gods leaned down to look at the corpse. The god of punishment asks, What happiness did wearing happy shoes bring to mortals? The other god replied, He brought a gentle death, a death in the middle of youth, for him. Before he has to taste the asceticism of life. You are wrong. The god of punishment spoke again. He died too early. Life is not over yet. Therefore, although he had the right to enjoy happiness after many hardships, he did not enjoy it. I will truly save him. Having said that, the god of punishment took off the shoes of happiness from his feet. The student suddenly woke up. Both the punisher and the shoes disappeared. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.